Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of My Kommunity. I'm here with my buddy Nick Ramos. Nick, how are we doing today?
I'm good. I'm great. Blessed to be here.
All right, yeah, glad to have you, buddy. Before we get into our topic of jobs and business, Nick, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, like you said, my name is Nick. I'm 33 years old. I've been all up and down this side of the United States. Prior military. I've been overseas. I've, spent most of my career in Texas, finally back in Jersey, building a life. And, it's been a struggle, converting from a everyday military life, back to civilian world. There's a lot of things you miss. There's a lot of things you don't. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that never goes away is waking up way too early than you're supposed to,
I could imagine, man. Yeah. Like boot camp and just like being in the field in general. It's got to be intense.
Yeah. I think today was one of the first days I slept till 6 o'clock. Usually I'm up at like 4:30 and I don't have to be at work till like 8.
Oh, Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
You're an animal.
I know. It's crazy.
But that's good discipline, man. That probably helps with work and life in general, no?
Yeah, oh, definitely. I'm never anywhere late. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. So obviously that's a brief introduction into your military background, but why don't we talk about your job and business backgrounds besides the military? Why don't you go into that for us, Nick?
Yeah, sure. So when I got out of the military, my main career was signal system support. Essentially, I was installing radios and Humvees, setting up satellites. I was flabbergasted when I saw what I was getting paid versus what a civilian would get paid for the same thing. So essentially, came back. Turns out people don't leave those kind of jobs. So there's not a lot of openings there. So I ended up with going the sales route. And honestly, that worked really well for me. I had no idea I was so much of a people person until I had to sell them something.
There you go. Yeah, you never know, right?
You never know. And, me, I always thought I was more of a introvert. Mm-hmm. So whereas, I can definitely talk to people, but once my social battery's done, I need to go somewhere real quick and reset,
Sure.
So it took me out of my comfort zone. And I think that's what helped me really shine. But the first sales job I had, I was just selling lawn care and mosquito control. But closing 75 of those in a month, that lets you know you're onto something.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
In that job though, the commission was really only like $10 a sale, something like that.
Oh,
so it was a start. It was a start, but it's definitely not something that's going to pay the bills, So I transitioned to the solar industry when actually, let's be honest here, we're live for the viewers. When COVID hit, I got offboarded because they tried to stay afloat. So I was the new guy. It doesn't matter how well I was doing. They need to make some cutbacks. So I got released because of COVID. Then I started working virtually for a company called Green State Energy. Okay. From there, I realized that even though I was pretty good at selling lawn care, I was better at selling solar. Mm-hmm. I did well there. Unfortunately, they weren't the most honest company in the world. Mm-hmm. My commissions were withheld. I was basically making hourly when I was closing a ridiculous amount of deals for them.
I'm sorry, bud.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Stuff happens. We know how the industry is.
Yeah.
Especially in the corporate world.
Of course.
So I ended up getting recruited to Centuity. I can't put a name out there because they can probably get sued for that. But so I ended up at a company called Centuity. Mm-hmm. I was there for about 2 years. Mm-hmm. Did amazing. I mean, I was raking in like anywhere from 10 to 14 in the winter months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And what blows my mind about it is that when it comes to solar, people really only think about it in the summertime. They see a sun, it's hot,
right?
Then all of a sudden solar pops in the mind. It's unheard of for them to think about it when there's 7 inches of snow outside. So that's when I knew I was like, okay, I'm onto something. This is gonna work. At that time though, there was not much room for growth in that company. So I moved on for a short period of time, I started working for a company called Altice, which is essentially Optimum. So what my job entailed was going to the people's house that canceled with them because they suck. And, and then stealing them back from Verizon or from whoever it may be.
Sure.
I did really well again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my first week out on the field, I closed like 12 deals for them at people's doors that were not expecting me to come.
Huh.
You know? But the thing about that job is, it's a lot of driving. There wasn't a lot of help in that regards. So I was like, okay, let me try something else. Ended up being, now this is going to take a whole left field.
No. Left field ahoy. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
So
Yeah.
I left sales in general because everything was kind of,
Yeah, it just wasn't consistent or
Right.
not working out the way you wanted to.
right.
Sure.
Like, yes, I was making money. But driving from Old Bridge all the way to Trenton, just to go walk around a neighborhood complex and try to sell, it was very chaotic.
Sure.
There wasn't a lot of structure there. I can specifically remember more than 3 times where I had a certain amount of sales and they tried to like lowball a little bit. So I was like, okay, I'm done with sales. Like that was the second time that I felt like I was done wrong.
Sure.
So I started working for a company called Clean Earth in Piscataway, where it was like hazardous waste materials, stuff like that. Real left field. Then I got my first check and I was like, oh, this isn't
This isn't it.
this isn't it. No, you go from making 10 to 14K in the middle of October, to a $1,500 check.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm not.
Quality of life is decreasing and it's just it's not the way.
No. So, somebody from Centuity reached back out to me while I was literally unloading a bunch of hazardous waste from Home Depot. I got a call and they were like, hey, come back. We want to give you this promotion. But I was like, oh, okay. Now you guys have promotions. Now there's, So I was like, you know what? Yeah, sure. I'll come back. So I came back. They gave me a team lead position, which was cool. I appreciated feeling like my work was being
Recognized. Of course.
Yes. So I still had to sell. They weren't going to let me not sell. But I was also in charge of everybody else too. So if I sold well, cool. If they didn't, what did I do wrong? Essentially, so I was always, they pointed the finger at me first, It worked well. I will say it worked well. The problem was that the company started seeing a massive amount of growth and their head got a little too big. So they wanted it to turn into a Fortune 500 company way too early. So essentially, investors came in, put all this money down, backfired, lost it all. So that was me and 250 other employees that just were thrown on the street. And mind you, this was 2 days before I was supposed to close on the house. So you can imagine, I was all over the place.
Yeah.
But by the grace of God, everything worked out. I got the house, started a new career with another solar company. This one a little bit farther. I mean, it was a 45-minute drive. It was a little crazy. But I did too well there. And this is like the first time I saw success bite me in the ass.
Okay.
This was a startup company. Okay. So they were only used to making like maybe 4 sales a month. And to them, that was successful. I said, what are you guys talking about? What are you talking about?
Right. We need to optimize and do better.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can bring you 20 of those. What do you mean 4? You have a team of 10. A team of 10 people are bringing you 4 sales. What are the other 6 people doing?
Yeah, no, that's like 1.5 sales.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I said, I don't even know what comes after quadruple, but I guarantee you by the end of this month, you're going to get your money's worth. Right. They said, okay, we'll see. They thought I was joking. Okay. I brought a team of me and 5 people. I'm sorry, the other 10 people had to go. 4 sales and 10 people, you're not trying. So we got them 94 sales in less than 30 days.
Damn.
Now, I'm going to break it down a little bit. For one sale,
Right.
the finance partner of that company brings you $50,000. That's the upfront.
For one.
For one sale, you get $50,000 total. They do break it down. Like after it's installed, then you get the rest of it.
Oh, okay.
Right? But so, I mean, do the math.
Yeah, they owed you guys quite a bit.
Quite a bit. Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. They didn't have the back end to fund that until they got the full amount of the money. So they ended up having to drop us.
Wow.
Because they couldn't afford us.
That is insane,
Yeah.
dude. That's wild. When you're worth more than what the company can actually put in.
Yes.
That's insane, dude.
Yes. It was a lot, but it was I kind of see that as a victory at the same time. Like, like I get it. You know what I mean? You guys have to stay afloat. You can't really bring on too much success in one shot.
Sure.
But in my eyes, it's like if I, learned how to do this and I formed 10 other people to be just as good.
Sure.
To the point where we're so good that you have to hire somebody that's less qualified to be able to stay afloat. I mean, that's a success in my book,
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you reach for the pain points when you sell, like what is the motivation behind it? You tug on that, 9 times out of 10, it goes the right way, and I always taught you got to be honest,
Of course.
like, especially in the solar industry, I see a lot of things go left. Like, a lady will have $100 bill. She doesn't need 40 panels on her roof for a $100 bill, but they do that to get the most out of the commission they get back. And that's something I don't really believe in, because now they're paying more than what they were paying before.
Right.
And now they have 2 bills.
Right.
So it's
taking advantage of the consumer.
Yes. It's a very shady industry, and you have to be really careful about who you do business with in it.
Fair. Okay. Yeah, no, dude, that's an interesting perspective. And I'm glad that you have that honest and forthcoming mentality, because I feel like in these kind of industries, especially sales in general, man, like people could get taken advantage of. It's one of those things where, do you trust the salesman or do you trust like your intuition? Like who do you trust when you buy those products? And at the end of the day, like salesmen are invested in getting you the product no matter what. But where are they coming from? Like, are they coming from good intentions? Are they coming from just screwing you over for a quick buck? Or are they maybe doing it for both reasons? Which at the end of the day, they kind of have to, because they do need to make money, because it's a highly commission-based industry. But they should do the right thing by the consumer as well, especially in my opinion, because I've done negotiations in sales as well. If you want those repeat customers. So it's a double-edged sword, and I understand the juggling of the morality compass with that.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. The one thing that people fail to miss is that if you're honest with someone and you do right by them, in the back end, it might not be right away, but in the back end, they will look out for you, because as soon as a friend says, I was thinking about getting solar, guess who's the first person they're going to think of?
Exactly.
The guy that didn't screw them over,
Yeah, no, dude, they're going to go to the one they trust most.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's how you build your income without any effort.
Yeah.
Just be honest. Do right by people,
Yeah. So why don't you tell the My Kommunity audience what you're up to now? I know you're studying at Brookdale.
Yeah. So I don't want to get into politics a little too much, but I came across some information that the solar industry is going to be going under soon. So, as you know, the company Suntuity went under, and I decided to stay afloat with the company, even though I had that feeling. I'm not making that same mistake again.
Sure.
So once I saw that by 2028, all the incentives, all the selling points, all the good things about solar is going to be going away. We're already feeling it now. I'm already getting a lot of pushback off of that, which is, fine. I know how to,
navigate it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I'm not going to make that same mistake again. I'm going to go back to my roots. I'm going to go back to doing something similar to what I was doing in the military. Network information technology. So I'm working a lot with computers, routers, switches, the whole nine.
Sure.
And that's my comfort zone, honestly, because it was drilled into my head every day, so I was like, okay, yeah, I know how to do that. I'm excelling. And that's new for me because I was very much the class clown as a kid.
I feel that, dude, right there with you, man.
Yeah, I was very much the class clown. I'm going to peel the curtains back a little bit. I grew up in Patterson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a little bit rougher. I mean, my childhood home had heroin needles on the street. Like, it was that kind of neighborhood. So there wasn't a lot of people to look up to. So the version of where my mind was at that point of time was the people to look up to weren't the people going to school or weren't the people working a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. So I didn't think that was the way to go.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little bit twisted, had it been different, I probably would have been way ahead in life at this time, but everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. You're here where you're supposed to be now, dude. And it's made you who you are. And that's a blessing in its own right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's why I'm like surprised now that I'm excelling in school, because I was never that kid. I mean, it got to a point like in the second grade, my teacher bought like a big, construction box, like a Home Depot box.
Sure.
And she sliced it and she made like a wall around my desk so I wouldn't bother anybody.
Okay.
So I didn't even see the board. Like, I was just sitting there in a box, like this was the things that they had to do to keep me still,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm honestly like, I was terrified, bro. I was terrified. I mean, I'm 33 going back to school, Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I still have nightmares because I got my MBA.
Okay. Cool.
And I still have nightmares of my MBA curriculum and stuff like that. Like, dude, more than any other kind of nightmare traditionally, like I'm the same way where I was a class clown and I really didn't like school. There's something about it. Maybe it's the confinement. Maybe it's the, I don't know if it's the lack of critical thinking, but kind of where it's theoretical knowledge versus outside the box knowledge.
Right.
It really is.
Right. And essentially, like, I'm the type of person I question everything,
dude. Same.
Because like we spoke of before we turned on, like I had a little bit of trouble with authority.
Right.
I didn't like being told what to do, so I would question everything. Like, don't talk to me about Benjamin Franklin. How's Benjamin Franklin gonna pay my bills? How's Abraham Lincoln gonna make sure my rent's paid? That's how I was thinking when I was younger. I was like, this is pointless. If I knew what I knew now, like if I just shut up and just did it, I would probably been really, further along where I wanted to be.
You'll get to where you need to be, dude.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's. I feel like when it comes to the growing pains, especially from a career standpoint, these experiences and obviously the bouncing around and the different experiences that you had make you a more well-rounded individual, and they give you perspective that someone that has been working the same job for 10, 15 years may not have. So
absolutely.
I applaud you for it, Nick. I truly do.
Absolutely. Thank you, by the way. And just to follow up with that, a lot of on the mindset that I just had, because I even catch myself doing it sometimes, and I just did. People forget, like, this isn't a competition.
No, it's not.
You're not in a race with
anyone,
with anybody.
It's really just you versus you.
It's just you versus the person you were yesterday.
That's it, man.
If you feel like you're in competition with somebody, that's a you problem.
Yeah.
That's not anything else but a you problem.
Yeah, it's true, dude.
And I was stuck in that rut for a little bit because there was a time where I felt stagnant. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, my friends are passing me up. But when in reality, I graduated high school before my friends. I started college before my friends. There was a lot of firsts that came before, but when you're in that mind, like all you're thinking of is, oh, they have this, I don't. And it spirals. It's toxic. Yeah. It's toxic. You start beating yourself up. It's not good for your mental health or your just sanity in general. No. And what's crazy is that, I realized this later on, I want to say my early 20s, when I thought I wasn't doing as well in life, right? And I saw somebody else that I saw had a nice car, had a job. I was like, okay, this is who I need to be around, Then I get there and they're in Section 8. So I was like, okay, so it's not everything you see on Instagram, you know what I mean?
No.
It's not everything you see. It's not all sunshines and rainbows once you peel the curtains back,
Of course. So before we wrap up, Nick, there was something I wanted to ask you. For the people at home, what job advice do you have for them, and what kind of worldly advice? Again, it doesn't have to be job or business related, or could be, I guess, a mixture of the two. Do you have for the audience watching back at home?
Okay, so for job advice, this is a double-edged sword. Okay, when it comes to a job advice, whatever you do, treat it like it's yours. If you are an accountant for a company, treat it like you're accounting for the company that you own, and you'll never go wrong. Treat it like it's yours, and your work will show that. Okay? Now, on the other end, if you die tomorrow, they will replace you. So if there's a better opportunity, take it. Take your time to think about it, but always look to step up next.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, Nick. I appreciate you being on My Kommunity. For our next guest, I was going to tell you we're going to have Babe Ruth on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but thanks for stopping by, and stay classy, San Diego.